Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Low Five Gaming. This is your host, Alex, and my co-host and brother, Luke. What up, Luke?
What up, I'm Tails? Just lost all my fucking coins. I was gonna go scramble, try to grab at least two. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm glad to have Tails involved. Sonic is always a better game when Tails is there.
Yeah, except for when you're doing that mini game and Tails is losing coins, and you're like, bro.
I never figured out how that worked, dude. Does it actually lose coins?
Yeah, it did.
Like
Yeah,
of your total count? Like I know you get coins from him.
That's how it felt.
That's definitely how it felt.
So chill out, dog. But yeah,
sure.
Tails is tight. Maybe I'll be Mysterious Knuckles and I'll drop in if I want. Oh, hey.
Ooh.
50.
Yes.
Nice.
50. We are at episode 50. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the game of the hour. I picked this one, and I would say, what's my history with this game? A long history, I guess. It's like way back in my gaming zeitgeist. This is a game, I guess I kind of grew up on it, but it's interesting playing today because I feel like my rose-colored vision of this thing should have left it in the past.
Well, yeah.
I'm playing to an extent. It's actually it's a good game. It's a good game. But it is one of those games where it's like I played it as an adult and I'm like, this is hard, dude. I might have been it with the Game Genie back in the day, but I definitely did not roll credits without that. But I thought that I did, though. It was one of those things where I thought, like, for sure I had probably beat this game. But playing through it, recently now, I'm like, there's no way. There's not a chance.
Yeah, nostalgic for sure. Had to dust off the old Pearson Candy fundraising candy bar box to get the old Sega games out. Blew on the cartridge. I can't tell you a time of when Sonic 2 came out. For me, Sonic 1, 2, and 3 always just existed. I would play all of them. Certainly not equally, but I would move between the three because even as an adult, but definitely as a kid, I could only handle the first few levels. So the first level feels so great. You're right back in it. And then as soon as the water level rises in the second level, it's just all back to the childhood trauma. And nostalgia's great, but shouts out save states and save scumming, dude.
For sure.
Convenience.
I'll tell you what, the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 water level, not nearly as chill as Donkey Kong's water level. Donkey Kong Country's water level.
Yeah, they did not. There's a lot of history around the game. They were definitely coming from Nintendo's throat.
They pretty much got it. They had their foot down.
I mean, shit, we didn't have a Nintendo as a kid until the 64. So, like, man, they owned our household. We were a Sega household. They were edgy, and Sonic, the Blue Hedgehog, mysterious and strange as hell. Definitely the less kiddie, more adult, edgy version. And goddamn, did they really take the difficulty serious. And I get that Mario was also hella difficult, but Sonic feels especially punishing.
Yeah, it's weird, dude. I think that Sonic, and I kind of learned this. I picked this up a little bit online over the years, but this is my experience here. And the crux of it is Sonic want to go fast, right? And that's his whole thing, like to go fast. And I think it's for multiple reasons. Like I think they were flexing like the 16-bit chip for that Sega had going on, and it was for the time powerful system. They're able to do some cool stuff with to make things go faster anyways, and like especially in the latter levels. It actually makes more sense to take your time and be calculated by your jumps and pay attention to what's going on. And like, even though it feels good to just spin through everything and go balls to the walls Sonic fast, it actually is detrimental, especially in the later levels, in my opinion.
I would actually say they're constantly punishing you for going fast whilst simultaneously encouraging you to go fast. It's a really interesting, frustrating game design. But like, there's Busby, which did that without grace and coolness. So they certainly did a really good job of it. And the music if you play, well, we can get into music later, but like a lot of this game, when you first play, it's like all so fire. And then as you keep playing, you're like, I'm sick of this shit.
So the music is lauded. Like people love the music in this game. So I think it's funny that you have found a distaste for it.
Well, I was playing in long sessions. So like when you're getting frustrated and the fucking music's kind of on a loop, I was like ready to punch TV.
Yeah, even though I just like noted that people do love the music from this game, like I think it's also worth noting that overall the Sega Genesis and like the sound chip for that thing, like it's kind of poopy. Like people rip on for the Sega for like not having the chip like as crisp and as good of chip tunes, like poopy chip tunes versus the Super Nintendo. But you mentioned the time. So Sonic 2 dropped in 1992. in Japan on November 21st, and then I believe the 24th in North America and European year in Europe or whatever. But it was interesting. They had like a big, like you mentioned also, the big push that Sega had around this, and the big like console wars, like the true beginning of the console wars was Sega versus Nintendo. There's a bunch of like cool Medium books and videos, I'm sure, on that out on YouTube, etc. But I would say like Sonic was Sega's answer to Nintendo's Mario, right?
Yeah,
And
mascot and everything.
like I mentioned, 1992, so early 90s, dude. So we're in like, dude, like they leaned in, like Sonic is pure 90s. Like he's this edgy, cool, like Hedgehog, I guess. But like, you know, it was like you see those, you know, you go check out some of those old commercials and stuff, and you've got like they're super edgy. You've got like the dude that screams Sega.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned that like not having, because of your age, like it came out around the time that you came out.
Yeah.
So like having 1, 2, and
Like
3 was
months
a
older
common
than
experience. And like I was pretty young at the time to like when it dropped, so I wasn't like paying attention to its release, that type of thing. For me, very similar to you, Sonic 1, 2, 3 were always just kind of like I would rotate between the three of them. You over at Ace, boing, and me mostly over at the dude Jamie who lived in the neighborhood.
No cool noise,
playing those games. Yeah, no cool noise.
No cool noise for Jamie, dude. Sad noise.
The thing that we haven't mentioned, though, the game that we haven't mentioned is Sonic and Knuckles. And that was a really cool thing because that was another cartridge. So you got Sonic 1.
3, though?
Yes.
Is that its own standalone game? I was always really confused by that.
I can't remember how it works when you only put it in there. I think there are a certain amount of levels you can do, but it is like basically an expansion. It's like the early days of like, not expansion pass. Is that what they're called?
DLC.
It's kind of like DLC only for the physical media, right? So it's its own cartridge. You would put 3 onto it and it would like add a whole nother Knuckles layer to the game and all these extra levels for Sonic 3, right?
Yeah.
But for Sonics 1 and 2, it allowed you to play as Knuckles. And I can't remember what other bonus content it gives you, but it did definitely let you play as Knuckles, which is interesting. And so it did a little bit to Sonic 1 and 2, but it really like changed up it was made for 3, but that was something that we would do. We would add it to Sonic 1 and 2 as well. And, you know, between those 4 entities or 3 proper, but then add in Knuckles, there's kind of just cycle through them. And I think that like this game is considered to be like upper echelon. It is like considered a great game by many. And it is a very good game. But like, as I played it, I was like, okay, I might be a Sonic 3 guy.
Yeah.
And I wonder what that is, dude. Like, I think there's like, there's always like, whenever a company like has the next game, they make iterations, they make it theoretically better. But one major thing that you can do in Sonic 3 that you cannot do in Sonic 2, per our guy Tails, is you can fly.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you find yourself playing older games and wishing that there were new discussions about those games? Enter Tales from the Backlog. Hi, I'm Dave Jackson, and on each episode, I'm joined by a guest to break down those games that may be stuck in your ever-expanding backlog. Each episode looks at one game in depth, focusing on mechanics, story, music, and other aspects with no spoilers until a clearly marked spoiler wall in the middle. If you've played the game, go ahead and climb that spoiler wall and enjoy in-depth story discussions, and if not, jump out when we warn you and maybe go play that game for yourself. We have over 100 episodes in the feed, everything from Disco Elysium to Tunic to discussion episodes about how to get into horror games, and if games actually need to be fun, or if they have more to offer. I guarantee that there's something in there for everybody. Once again, that's Tales from the Backlog, available wherever your podcasts are found.
Why'd you choose 2 instead of 3? I was curious about that.
Because of how it's considered, you know, to be one of the best.
And curious, did you randomly play any of 1 just to see what the difference would be? I have like the fuzziest memories of 1. I know I played some, but
yeah, there's the biggest difference that Sonic 2 fixes over Sonic 1 is the being able to go from, I forget what you call it, but you know how you press down to crouch and then you tap A or whatever, and you would basically charge up your spin. So that's new to Sonic 2. Like you don't get that like from 0 to 60 in Sonic 1 from the spin or whatever. So like that whole mechanic is for Sonic 2. It's interesting too. Like the Sonic stuff is, I wouldn't say it's messy necessarily, but it's like it's interesting in the sense that there's a Sonic one, there's like a Sonic for the Master System that came out, and there's a Sonic 2, I believe, for the Master System as well. But Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was totally different. That's for Genesis.
Mhm.
And then the Game Gear has ports of the original Sonic and the Sonic 2 that would have been for the Master System. So those are ports on the Game Gear, totally, completely different games from Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Genesis. So there's like this weird jump from where Sonic lived on the Master System, then you got him on the Genesis. Better games for the Genesis for sure. I mean, not to say that the other ones were bad. Like I said, progression, the games are just getting better by this time. Because it's considered to be one of the greatest, one of Sega's greatest games, I think it's definitively better than Sonic 1. But, you know, not to say like we won't play Sonic 3 eventually. But if I had to go back and choose again, I think I probably would go Sonic 3. I think that's a definitively better game.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, to further the point that you originally made, it was hallowed in its time, and it's a huge step forward with the speed and the atmosphere and the edginess and just all of it, you know, creating a mascot, improving game mechanics. It's kind of like listening to rock from the 50s or hip hop from like the 80s.
Sure.
Where like when you go back to it, you almost have to like get yourself into this mindset. And I know you could say that for like a lot of games, Prince of Persia being an example of a pod we've done. I can play Prince of Persia, and there's just something about the gameplay loop that I find really addicting still, even though it's such an ancient game and things have come so much further. Sometimes when things are futuristic, when they come out, they age the poorest.
Yeah.
And I feel like Nintendo, you know, not to be keeping a scorecard 33 years later, but like the Mario games do hold up better than the Sonic games.
I mean, I agree with you. I think a lot of Sega kids would say that you're wrong.
Yeah. It's funny, like when you're explaining the different versions of the games and the different games, like I don't have any memory of a Sega game in a store. I think they've always just existed in garage sales and candy boxes in other people's collections. So like even when I was playing them, I was like stumbling on an artifact and it was cool. Where the legacy of Sega, or not Sega, but Sonic specifically, is kind of fascinating how it continues to live on. And it's like media, like my kids know Sonic because of clothes and like the little plushies you gave them. Yeah, the movies are actually pretty good with Jim Carrey.
I think they're good. Like the first one especially, and then the second one was pretty darn good too. Is there 3
James
out?
Marsden, is that his name?
That sounds right.
Is like his buddy, and then Jim Carrey is Dr. Robotnik, which the game has such unhinged villains. How it just starts as like this cutesy kind of Mario-like with the Emerald Hill Zone, and then it goes right into just like cyberpunk, steampunk. What would you call it? Industrial punk.
Industrial, I guess. Yeah,
it's weird.
Steampunk, I guess. Yeah,
it's not really, in a way. Like, it gets really weird and dark. And that's kind of the edginess. Like we keep using edginess as a coverall, but like they're definitely trying to go with like more like mature themes. Like,
so dude, how about Casino Night, dude? By the time you get to Zone 4, it's in the casino. That shit was dope though. Like I didn't mind the music there. And then it's really see it as an adult.
I could get that far as a kid.
Yep.
So like I do remember it. And I think I felt really confident that I had actually beaten that boss before in life without save states.
Without save states, yeah.
And then once we get into the other ones, like I think I've seen up to Oil Hill Zone because like it was on NSO and stuff. But once we get up to there, I think I've seen them. But that Hilltop Zone after Casino Night, I'm pretty positive I've actually played it. In the Mystic Cave Zone, not 100% if I actually made it there.
Right on. I did make it through this and gave to the credits this time around, but with a big old asterisk because I definitely use save states. And it gets, dude, this like I was saying at the head, man, it gets tough. Like by the time you hit basically past that Oil Ocean area, the middle area you're talking about, Mystic Cave, Hilltop, etc., they do ramp up the difficulty quite a bit.
It feels tough, and it feels like they still put a lot of time into the levels, but like I had a lot of thoughts about like when they made it, were they aware of how little people would be seeing the later levels?
I don't know.
Do you think they were like, man, I'm giving up on the Mystic Cave Zone. Like, this is fine. It doesn't need to look pretty. No one's ever going to get here, dude.
Yeah. I mean, that whole 60-bit era, like, especially, 92 time, it's interesting because you were coming out of, I don't want to say it's the death of the arcade yet, but like the arcades are dying, right? Yeah. But there's all this like carryover from the arcade type of gameplay, which you definitely see in Sonic, I think, where it's like, you are able to run through that first few levels, but then it becomes harder and harder. It's the whole idea of needing to put in more coins, right? Like to pay to get through it. The weird thing though is like this game, even though it has that similar huge difficulty curve, it's like you're not able to put in more coins. You like basically, but it is kind of forgiving in the sense like I was using save states, so it didn't become a problem. What this game does is when you do get a game over, it will bring you back, I think, to the beginning of that zone, but you'll lose all your points. So you start from point 0. So you're still trying to so if you were to get a game over in like the final death egg zone, I think it does start you back. Forgive me if I'm wrong, internet.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it starts you back at the beginning of that zone. You just have no more, you just don't have any points. So when you beat the game, like your point score is really low. So you don't have any honor.
I'm here to tell anybody that if you beat the game with very little points, I'm still proud of you.
Dude, me too, for sure.
I'm here to let you know.
If you beat the game using save states like we did, I'm still proud of you because this game, like I said, it gets hard, dude.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when you said you did that because I was doing that and I think I made it to the Sky Chase zone and I was just like, nah, dude. There's a Metropolis zone or the Sky Chase zone, and I was like, even with save states, I simply cannot do this to myself at this point in time.
Yeah, fair enough, dude. Fair enough. I think it's interesting. We were starting to kind of tease it a little bit, but like that fastness and the levels, and you were talking about how it's like you're being pushed to go fast, but you're not necessarily rewarded for it. I think it's super interesting because like as I was kind of going super fast through a lot of these, there's a lot of traversal that you can do in each level, even in the beginning. Like there's not a clear, like it is an end to end. It's A to B, and it's usually left to right. Like it does get a little messier in the fact that like it has to do some backtracking, like through and like up, through it up and down as later levels.
Paths, yeah.
Right. But it's interesting because you can just skip through big chunks of any of the given level if you choose to just burn through it. But it's like it doesn't necessarily, aside from being able to get more rings, and you're not super rewarded for exploration,
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Need a little something to help you relax or unwind? Step in a Chillscape, a pocket dimension of relaxing video game music. I'll curate the best playlists with the coziest themes and soundtracks, perfect to study, de-stress, or stare at the ceiling to. Tune in wherever you listen to podcasts, or head to chillscape.xyz for more info. New episodes every other Wednesday. And remember, vibe responsibly.
Yeah, I mean, there's one-ups, so if you're trying to survive without a save state, that's super important. Have you looked at just a map, looked at the level maps? It is the most confusing thing in the world to look at, because I was pretty curious, because like you're saying, they're kind of dense and they're more vertical than you'd think, and there's different paths to take, and you always kind of feel a little like you can see some stuff that you can tell is hidden and stuff that I've been playing these games since I've been alive and being able to hold a controller. And there's just stuff I never really figured out how to do. And I've never looked it up or dedicated myself to do it. But there's tons of little nooks and crannies and secrets everywhere. And if you look at the actual map, it looks like a glitch, kind of a glitchy camouflage almost if you look at the map. So I also think a lot about the game design, not only who's ever even going to see this with the later levels and the weird how they come up with the artistic design of some of these places, like the Oil Ocean Zone, who was the lore master who came together with that strangeness, or the Sky Chase Zone. They're like, yeah, no, we're not going to do freaking planes, dude. And then how they even put these maps together, because I guess a comparison would be Prince of Persia again. If you look at one of those maps, it's kind of oh, all right, I can see how you did this and that. Whereas you look at one of these maps and you're like, whoa, what is happening here? And it's deeply confusing, but kind of cool.
That is cool. Another big thing that this added that I did not get to experience because I did not chase down all of the Chaos Emeralds. But if you get all of those, which are you collect those by if you have, I think you have to have 50 coins when you pass one of those checkpoints, and then it does this little star circle thing you can jump into, and it warps you to a pseudo 3D screen where you referenced it before with Tails running with you, but you're collecting these coins.
YouTubed this?
What do you mean? Oh, I just know about it. Yeah,
the Super Saiyan or whatever they call it. But when he goes Super Saiyan,
Supersonic,
yeah.
So if you get all the Chaos Emeralds.
I wanted to see how overpowered it was, and I was like, It's impossible
Is
to
it?
do those ring challenges, dude.
Yeah,
First
dude,
of
they
all,
get super hard.
even with save states, I was like, I'm gonna do
Yep.
these. And then I did like the first one, and then the second one, I was like, this is hell. But I wanted to see it. It's kind of worth it, but you have to get 50 coins in a level before it
Yep.
activates. So it's not like you're still kind of grinding, even though you've done this super hard thing. So I thought that was interesting. It's hard enough to do where I feel like if you achieved it, you should be able to rip through everything. But what are you gonna do? It's a
Yeah,
cool
and
Easter egg for the tryhards out there, though. That'd be fucking cool back in the day. You'd be the man to be able to show your buddies that.
Totally. So if you get all those Chaos Emeralds, you basically you're this golden near invisible Sonic. So that would probably, it drains one ring a second, I guess, is what I was reading.
Okay.
So like if you have a bunch of rings and you're being supersonic, like then you last for longer. But I think, dude, that's honestly, I was going to say that's like how you got to beat this game, but you don't really get to get all the Chaos Emeralds unless you've played it all the way through. So, you know, this is just a tough game, dude. But that is cool, and it has been confirmed that that whole supersonic thing is based off of like a Super Saiyan. Yeah, so it's got some Dragon Ball lore. So it's like both Sonic and Tails actually modeled after Piccolo and Gohan, which is kind of cool. Yeah, there's some Japanese shit, you know. They're like it makes sense.
Tapping into their desired audience at the time,
100%.
which is funny because they've definitely shifted the dynamic they're going for entirely from when they first came out. Like, I feel like at the time they were going for like mid to early teens, and now they're going for like 8, 9, 10-year-olds.
Yeah. Another cool thing about this game that was introduced to Sonic 2 is the 2-player piece of it. You can do it a couple different ways. I think that you can do a split screen. So I think the first few levels are, at least, I don't know about the whole thing, but there's like a split screen that you can do, and you kind of like compete against each other as far as rings and completing the level. So yeah, Emerald Hill, Casino Night, and Mystic Cave are the only ones I'm pretty sure that you can play. And then there's also the ability and this carries on to Sonic 3. I think they do a better job of it in Sonic 3, but the second player can control Tails, which is like a cool multiplayer piece to this game.
Yeah, I remember doing that a little bit as a kid, but never particularly successfully, but lasted for a little bit.
For sure.
Especially if you're flying on the screen, only one person can really control progression. And if you're going super fast, but Tails being able to fly was kind of fucking cool. So helped out.
100%. So you wouldn't have been able to get to the final boss then if you didn't make it that far. That I'll just know, dude, that it's tough. Like by the time there's the Mechasonic alone is super hard, man. So like he's like the penultimate boss. So that happens in Death Zone. You get there, it looks just he's a little bit bigger, but it's essentially it's Sonic in a mecha suit, and all of like the spikes that Sonic has. Like obviously it's because it is a Mecha Sonic or whatever. But like the thing is like if you touch those, knocks all your rings out.
You also have no rings in that level. The entire level is void of rings, so it's a one hit the whole time, which is an interesting design choice for anyone who got that far. They're like, oh, and fuck you.
Right, because if you lose, like you go back to the beginning, you're not able to collect coins, so you basically have to beat it without getting hit, which it's hard, dude.
Yeah,
super hard.
I don't know why the motivation as a game design to do that is. No one's ever going to see your end, and like you don't unlock anything cool. So
this is a different time, right? So like I think part of it is like they were forcing you to get good.
I guess, man, Dark Souls ain't got shit on Sonic 2,
dude, for sure. But yeah, it's like you learn his patterns. So it's like any of these other like games that we played, adventure games, these like from this era especially, like if you learn the patterns it becomes easier, but that's still like, dude, that's a lot to learn. And especially with the fact that like, can you save proper in this game without save states? I'm just trying to think of how that works. So like you have to like make your way all the way.
Fucking you restart every time you cook in that system, dude. Like there's no,
because you can, I mean it depends on the game. Some of the games have save batteries, so like Sonic 3 I know you can pick up later, but like
that's true. Maybe you can,
but like this one.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Yeah, so it's
maybe
so it is tricky, but like
child not that motivated to actually win.
Not much has changed.
Heard that.
But dude, like to go from Mechasonic to then go to the final boss, which is Dr. Eggman or whatever in his mecha suit, which like it looks cool, like it's a cool looking boss and everything, but like to go from one tough boss to like another super difficult boss, like that's just not fair.
Yeah, a boss rush at the very end with no coins, one hit.
Another
Although
layer to that coin thing, dude, is we're mentioning it, but I think we told the audience yet. For those that haven't played Sonic, you gather these coins. This kind of acts as your life force in a way. So like if you have coin, that gives you the ability to like get hit and continue, but you lose all your coins. There's drops all the coins. You can go recover a handful of them, which is cool. Which like gives you this cool like that part is an interesting mechanic. Whereas like
fucking panic scramble to get your coins back.
for sure. But like whereas you go from like it's just easy to compare to Mario because that was like Nintendo's deal and anyways and just compare it
designed to fight Mario. There's no reason
exactly 100%. So like if you look at Mario you basically there's more of a formula to it where it's like you get a mushroom and then if you get hit you're small, you get hit again, you die. I guess it's not like completely different here. It's very similar in a sense. But if you have no coins, you lose that life.
I have noticed that even if you have a ton of coins, when you get hit, because you're staggered and the coins are going in different directions, you can never really get more than like 2 to 5.
Yeah,
it's kind of designed where
the whole mess.
If you get hit again, you're pretty lucky to get your 1 or 2 coins back. So like you can, it's possible, but you pretty much have the same 3 hits. It just plays out a little differently. But that sound effect going off, whew.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Dr. Robotnik, gotta talk about how unhinged and funny he is. You're saving like bunnies or something, or chickens or birds all the time. That's cute. I don't know. That's just part of the whole Green Hill Zone gang. But Dr. Robotnik is just like this goofy ass humanoid penguin man. And the penguin only as in like the penguin from DC Comics, like shape looking bowling ball cartoon fat guy. But God, he's just funny. And Jim Carrey just like taking a bag of money to be Dr. Robotnik is also great.
He does a good Dr. Robotnik, though, I must say.
And I like how open he is, that he doesn't give a shit. He just wants to get paid a lot of money, and he keeps saying he's not coming back to do them, but he's like, I guess. And then he just does another funny Dr. Robotnik.
So we've talked a little bit about it. We basically sandwiched this game with the beginning and the end. It's interesting. I guess maybe it's because you didn't get the Metropolis Zone or Sky Chase, but like I did think that there was a couple of interesting like level mechanics that they added. So the Sky Chase, like it changes it up. You're on your plane, which prior to recording we found out is the tornado.
Yeah, duh.
Right. But like that is like it's kind of difficult, but I did appreciate. And it was also a trope of the time too to like have that kind of shmup-esque level. Like you may recall, we played for Super Mario. Maybe it was not in Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. Super Mario Land 1 though, Super Mario Land on the Game Boy has like a cool shmup level. I feel like it was like that was the thing to like to switch up your game a little bit and like add that type of level and like so it was interesting though like playing it because at the end of it, you jump off the plane. And I died a whole bunch of times because like I kept missing the jump to land on the Wing Fortress platform or whatever as you transition.
Yeah.
And then it says like one of those things that you like, thank God I had save states because that was my reason for like ending my game. Oh, so frustrating.
There's times when like playing old games, I understand that like I didn't have a trillion games to choose from. So I can get into the mindset of like buckling down and actually beating one of those. But if I was this close to a game and I kept losing on a level like this, I'd lose my fucking mind.
100%.
That's why like even with the save states, I was like, this is getting insane. Like I'm not gonna get better at this. This is so annoying. So like once again, dude, if you beat this game, shouts out to you, dude. Shouts out.
Dude, 100%. I will say that there's a couple fun things as well in like the oil ocean zone that just had like oil caps that like popped out. Those kind of because they're always surrounded by.
I think
spikes,
that level is
like,
universally panned as shit.
Yeah,
from what I looked up, I think people generally hate, and I hated the aesthetic. I was just like, what is happening here?
Yeah,
Metropolis was kind of cool, but it was a little weird.
Dude, so that I like those bolts that you like spin on to like I love like
it's a fun gimmick.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like this game has a ton of those like little gimmick things that like I just think are interesting,
Sure.
So being able to spin that nut and bolt thing to kind of go up like an elevator, the casino night that we mentioned earlier, you mentioned that one being tough as a kid. As an adult, I didn't really think this game started getting really hard until probably Mystic Cave, Ocean. So like casino night, not too hard as an adult, but I appreciated it more as an adult. Is like how unhinged and ridiculously Vegas it is.
Yeah.
Like just turns in. It's got like you ever play Sonic Pinball?
No.
Spinball, I guess. Sonic Spinball.
Maybe. Like I'm not gonna fully say no, but I mean it was cool. I remember playing the little slot machine thing, jumping in there as a kid,
Yep.
thinking that was neat. But I
Yeah, so
also
this
remember getting pissed
incorporates the
off by
slot
this
machine
level as a kid.
stuff.
That
Yeah,
boss
it
battle is
incorporates the slot machine.
kind of cool.
And one is nice. It's got the bringing up the Sonic Spinball thing, because in addition to the slot machine stuff, it's got the flippers, like pinball flippers that you can use to bounce around, and some of the level itself is kind of built out to be like a big pinball machine, which Sonic Spinball is for those that are like, I need to get balls deep in Sonic. I think that's like a fun offshoot.
Hell yeah.
I've always appreciated.
I don't know how to transition from you saying you want to get balls deep into Sonic, so
You just keep that picture in your head, brother.
I'll just I like to think of the canceled Sonic where the fans had outrage. That's the Sonic you're balls deep in.
To dig into the lore, now that we're balls deep, we can dig into the lore a little bit. So apparently this game was very much, I mean, Sega, Japanese game, had the US market as well. I guess what I'm getting at, though, is the gold master of this game was flown to Japan on 2 different planes. So like you had the original copy, like the gold master copy, and then the backup on a separate plane. And like that's how they like, dude, this is like wild to think about that for me, because like this is pre-internet, right?
Yeah.
So you got to deliver something like this, you got to deliver it physically. And I just like never would, like, this is just a fun little like tidbit that when I was in my research, like the idea that they would fly from the US with the gold master of this game and then have a second plane following in case the first plane like fucking
I hope they named one of the planes the Tornado.
You're right. Dude, unreal though. Just like one of those weird things like you would never we take for so much for granted. Like, I mean, even the fact that we're just like talking on a video chat over the internet right now is pretty nuts. But like,
Yeah. I mean, the hundreds of
can't just
millions
ship files.
of dollars the game, well, maybe not hundreds, but who knows with inflation and everything, but the bunch of money the game made combined with like the enhancement of the IP, I guess I get it as to why they didn't just ship it.
100%.
You literally have to fly it. This is an insane investment, but yeah, pretty silly.
Yeah, I mean, I got that Sega money.
Sega money, dude. That's probably why they went bankrupt.
Maybe it was because they're playing for private. They're fucking PJs. Sonic and his PJs.
Right. Knuckles
Right
is
on.
also on the Epstein list, so just gonna throw that out there.
Sonic 3 is a direct sequel to this game. And so after you beat the Death Egg and beat the Mecha, whatever his name is, like that is the game picks up right in Sonic 3, which is like another nice little tidbit.
Yeah, aren't you literally supersonic? Because that game starts off like in the plane, and then you get
believe
smacked
so.
up, and then your Chaos Emeralds are spilled.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that checks out.
Yeah, I can tell that both of us played a lot more Sonic 3 in our youth.
Yeah, that being said, like I do have very strong memories of the first 3 to 4 levels, and I felt like I was ripping along when we were playing, and I do have some of the levels confused together,
Mhm.
but specifically like the casino night, like I remember that one strong, and the chemical plant zone. God, I hated the chemical plant zone, but I have a lot of memories of playing that.
Chemical Plant is where they introduced the water too, right?
Yeah, and like the water rises up, so like there's
Yep.
that one like particular, like I don't even think it's that hard of a jump, but if you miss it, you're like underwater for a while, and then you got to do this.
I know exactly what you're talking
You'd
about.
fuck up so many times as a kid, and you'd just be like, "Is this fun?" And then
Yeah.
you finally get past it, and you're like, "All right, fun," but like under the water, and then the dun, 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 it's- yeah, getting those those bubbles.
So how many Chaos Emeralds out of 5 you get this game, brother?
Back in the day, dude, 4. Right now, like 2. It was a sugar rush, dude. It was fun to play. The music was cool for a little while, and the longer I stayed with it, the more the music was incredibly grating. I don't know how they came up with these different zones and how they came up with this kind of crazy lore. It's pretty bonkers, but it's cool.
Right on.
But yeah,
Dude, that's like a low 5 low, brother.
well, I have the nostalgia adjusted in case anyone thinks I'm
100%.
out here hating.
No, I'm just playing around a little bit. I would also bring this in lower. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 Chaos Emeralds. And I think the thing is, like, I understand that this is considered an all-time great, and I respect it. And I think that I can see that. But for me personally, my rating is going to be a 3. And I think that is because of the fact that as playing, I was like, kind of wish I was playing Sonic 3.
Yeah.
And because it does get so hard that I like, I always like, I have nothing against save states. I don't even have anything against, like, honestly, like using a game genie or using cheat codes or whatever. If that's how you want to roll credits, like, I think that's, everybody got to experience it the way that they desire. And so I don't think there's any problem with that. That said, like, I also don't love a game that makes it so difficult that I can't beat it without that kind of stuff. And we bring this up all the time in the pod with the whole idea of, like, I mean, granted, back in the day, this was the only one of like 15 games that we had. So, like, you would put more time into it maybe. But, like, I just don't think that the way that it's set up to, like, get back to the later levels and to have them be so punishing, like, I just don't think it's fair.
To piggyback on that, like, if you made all these different levels, I don't know why you don't want your consumer to see them. Because a kid, I never would have seen the Sky Chase. So, and I don't know what the answer is as far as, like, you definitely don't want to make it too easy. But, it'd be tight if I saw it. So, whatever that line is.
Totally. So, as far as recommendation goes, like, I do recommend this to anybody that, like, if you love retro games and you're, like, curious about, like, if you haven't played Sonic, I don't know, like, then fucking check it out. Like, I think it's worth knowing, worth playing with. I think it's just so fascinating. You brought this up earlier. But, like, the whole idea that, like, the Sonic lore and, like, everything, like, the IP is kind of just continued to be so, like, it has movies. It's interesting because although we started as Sega boys, we definitely moved away hard from that. Like, we didn't have a Saturn. We didn't have basically any of the other Sega systems until it died out. Like, our last and only Sega system was the Genesis. So, like, there is a bunch of stuff on, like, the Dreamcast and the Saturn, et cetera, that, like, continues Sonic on. There's even, like, I mean, the Switch, like, after Sega made its pivot to software, like, there are games that people love that you can play on PlayStation, the Switch, et cetera. And so it's like Sonic has, I guess what I'm driving at is Sonic has quietly, but maybe not so quietly, like, continued to be a big deal. And, like, for some reason that surprises me.
Yeah, it's weird because it's gone through peaks and valleys. So, like, some of the games are kind of like memes, almost, like, get ripped on all the time, and they've, like, taken a lot of chances with different characters, like the Shadow, and, like, trying to be like edgy again, but, like, really missing the mark and just getting laughed at a lot in, like, I'm thinking that PS2 kind of GameCube era.
Yes.
And for me, if I ever saw it, like, I'd give it like a brief shot, but I remember always just being like, it's not what I'm looking for, which isn't fair. You got to move forward. But everyone kind of wanted it to be something. So it kind of just flailed around for a while until it found whatever footing it is having now, where it's just kind of like strong IP. And I don't know what the, like, last really good, really liked game is, but they've been able to, like, successfully pivot pretty hard as far as, like, TV shows, anime, movies, and comics. So good for them, I guess. They built something.
Sega. All right, man. With that, let's take a little break here from our unsanctioned sponsor. Come back with some side question. Well, this month we are unofficially brought to you in part by Little Kid Bikes.
Nice,
Strider bikes, training wheels,
pedal bikes.
biking, pedal bikes. Yeah, Doc, I know you did some Facebook marketplacing, found some bikes for your boys.
Yeah, I went into the dirty waters of the marketplace and got me some nice pedal bikes with some training wheels. They're friggin' cheesed, dude. Big happy.
Now tell me
over here.
Tell me this: did you guys do Strider bikes prior to training wheels, or did you go straight to training wheels? What was your play?
We had Striders, and then they were like from Menards or something. Like, Huff is not the brand it was as a kid, Huffy. So we got them when they were 2. They were a gift. And they were so pumped, but they were very frustrated 2-year-olds because they weren't tall enough. So we really shoved the seat down as much as you could possibly shove it down, just because they were desperate to do something on there. I mean, it kind of worked, but not really at all. But their birthday's in the fall, and then in the winter goes by, and in the spring they're tall enough. So then for a whole year they're just gripping and ripping, and they're really riding on those things. It was really awesome. And then fast forward to this spring, and I'm like, I got to raise these seats.
Yeah,
so I raised the first seat. And it goes great. And then I go to raise the second weight, and it was jammed pretty low in there, right? And we really tried. And then it just rips the plastic base from the stem to the seat, just rips. So there's no there's no finding a way to make it work. It's just junk at that point. So I was like, dang. So I was in this weird spot where I'm like, we're a little old to buy a new Strider and like buy something nice this time so it lasts, but we're a little young for pedal bikes. So I just went ahead and did the pedal bikes because they're some tall boys and it's been great.
Nice.
Yeah.
How does that work when you're you gotta like, are you on your bike following? You running after them, trying to keep up, make sure that they're
They
like
don't
cool?
move too fast. So
Yeah.
we got a little driveway space that they kind of do some circles in. We'll
Nice.
walk alongside them as they pedal down, and then there's a little space where they can go off a little bit further. So we mix it up. We've gone to like a big parking lot before too.
Nice. Yeah, the pedal bike. So we don't have pedal bikes. We have just some weird like, it's the sticker on it is Sereed. It's a it's a Sereed. But anyways, it's like this weird. I think there's technically 4 wheels. So does that make it a 4? I guess it's a 4-wheeler, but it's like they're close together. It's for the balance or whatever.
Oh, I think
So
I
that
know
was
what
like,
you're talking about,
yeah, you seen those. So it's basically like a Strider bike or a balance bike, but it's like for young kids. And like Elton, my son, like we tried to get him to kind of do that, and like he just would get really frustrated, didn't really have it figured out last summer. And then it's kind of fun. His one of his cousins on the other side, his cousin Arlo, is 5. So he's like, we get some of his hand-me-downs. So we got a balance bike or one of those Strider bikes from him. So we've had that, and Elson's been able to like kind of peep it and be like, what's up with this thing? But kind of same deal. He would like straddle it and then just didn't know what to do with it. And you'd try and help him, but then he would kind of get frustrated and freak out and be like, this isn't a good time for anybody.
Yeah. No,
But like within this last week, brother, he's like kind of figured it out, and it's been super fun just to like, yeah. And he's like turned a corner on his helmet where he's down and like willing to wear his helmet, which last summer was like, oh, you're trying to like explain to like a 1.5, 2-year-old, like why you got to wear a helmet. And that's not going to work. But, but now he's like, wants to put on his helmet, wants to get on the bike, and we'll like get around the block or whatever. It's just super fun to watch him. Like, he's not quite hitting like a coast on the thing yet, but cool to see him excited on it and kind of like make his way.
The boys got helmets that are freaking ridiculous. They got fucking dinosaurs on them, and it's got like a big mohawk thing. So I think they were always particularly choosed to wear those. So
nice.
You just got to make it extra rad Sonic style. Yeah, no, it's fun, dude.
How about you? You got a bike? Graduating from Striders to training wheels to your own bike? You got your own?
Got a bike journey, but I've had no time to really let loose on that thing. I got to get it like a proper tune-up. It's been some.
Oh, you do have one then? So
yeah,
you got a new one since for the college days when your super nice bike got jacked.
So the extremely nice bike, yes, it was like brand new mountain bike, really sick because I didn't have a car,
right?
So I was able to get around with just that. And then it had like a thick old chain, not like a base one, like a very nice chain. So someone like hunted that one out and sniped it, and that was devastating. So then I went to like a little local bike shop and picked one out, and the dude restored it. Nice. And I always called it a Schwinn. I always called it my Miami Vice bike because it was the Schwinn was pink and the rest of the bike was gray, and it just looked hella sick. But hell yeah, faded glory, dude. I ran that thing all over the place. Faded glory, though. I want to get it tuned up, and I've told myself that the last few summers. But watching the boys, I can't just leave them in the house as I go riding. So if I had more room in the garage, maybe I'd get one of them wagons. Maybe I still can. Yeah. How old does a kid have to be where you can't be riding in those wagons anymore?
Hell, man, I'll get in the back of one of those things. Okay, brother.
It's a rickshaw at that point.
My bike it's been years now. Like probably this is probably year 3 without a bike. Mine was stolen.
Oh, word.
Yeah, I got it was like super. I got a nice deal on this one used from like a bike rental place up north near Lutzen, I guess. So it was like super awesome deal, super great bike. Had a good summer of like being able to pop around on that thing. And then when we moved to our apartments before we bought our house, we had like moved everything in.
Yeah.
And there's like a bike rack type thing by our parking spot, which I had, it's one of those deals. It's like I realized that I like needed a lock, but it was like that was not on my top priority during my move in. And we had a couple folks just like as someone was like pulling into the garage or whatever, slipped their way into the garage and went over to the area where you could just park bikes if you didn't have a parking spot. Stole a couple of those bikes, but then our parking spot was like maybe three spots away from the door. On the way out with their stolen bikes, they peeped my bike. This is all on video. This is why I know this. But like, so they dropped the bike that they were stealing and they went and stole my bike instead. And I was like, get to watch this on video. And I'm just like, God damn.
That's tight. Yeah, I got a pretty funny call where my boys were born. So I can tell you with with clear certainty your bike was stolen about 3.5 years ago.
Oh, clouding.
Because you're all excited for me, obviously, but you're like, my bike got stolen. That's pretty lame. I don't like that. But this isn't about that right now. So
I remember that. That's funny.
Yeah.
But this isn't about big boy bikes. This is about strider bikes and training wheels and kid bikes, dude.
Dude, rolling.
Indeed. So loving that, loving being able to watch that, dude. I've talked about this maybe a little bit with you. I've talked about some homies and like just kind of grappling with the idea of being a father of a now, I guess mine's almost 2.5, whatever. But my point is like it's such a weird, fun pocket, that we're experiencing right now with our kids because like they are experiencing so many things for the first time. And therefore, like as a dad or a parent or whatever, you get to kind of see the world through their eyes. See all these things through your kids' eyes for the first time. It's a really cool, special thing. So it's like something I was thinking about as I was watching him, like stride on his bike or whatever, and be all geeked out about that. And I saw this a reel recently where this dude was talking about. He was ripping on this one of those Stitch deals where someone said some shit about I don't know what the fuck. But the point that he made that really resonated was, at that age, especially that 3, 4, 5, right around that toddler age, especially in today's world where, how it is, dude, gas like $5 almost right now. Like, things are expensive. So like, it's harder and harder to just live your life financially. And there's, I think, like, especially in the society we live in, there's like this idea that this consumer society, at least, that I experience and partake in a little bit, you want to provide for your kids, you want to give them all these like things, but the thing is like they don't give a fuck if they get like, like my kid doesn't, like, it doesn't really matter if he gets like some new toy or whatever. Like what it really matters is like that he has my time and that I'm able to give him my time and my attention. And I think it's really interesting that this dude was talking about was that, but then he was talking about like at this time of their life, they could experience something, they could get really happy, and that might be the happiest that your boys or my boy that they've ever been in their entire life, and you get to be there for that and see that. It could also be they could be sad, and that could be the saddest that they've ever been in their entire life, and like you get to be the person that kind of like helps them work through that. Or they could be scared, dude. They could be the most scared they've ever been. There's these extremes or whatever. It's such like toddler pocket is such a interesting, like, it's super difficult, no doubt, as we like move into our dad cast.
Yeah, like, damn, dog. I thought we were talking about bikes and shit.
But like,
Jesus,
so it's, but I just think it's like a really beautiful thing to experience. And like, I'm really glad to be able to be a part of that. And, that both of us get to partake in that a little bit these days, or a lot of it. I guess that's what we do now. But, it is something else, man. Like I think about that when I'm watching my boy do things now, I'm like, or when he's upset about something, it's like, dang, this could be like literally the most upset you've ever been in your entire life. But it's kind of a cool thing to be able to be the person that like helps him navigate through that experience.
Yeah, I was bummed out.
So what I'm trying to say, everybody, is Luke and I are the best dads in the world, and we need gold stars.
Gold star. A bus drove by, and they didn't even look up. And I was like, y'all used to go fucking ape shit for school buses, dog. What happened to the school bus days? But hey, we're loving our pedal bikes right now. So there we go. Unofficially brought to you by Alex's Fatherhood pedal bikes.
Indeed. I've been waiting for you, brother, to run to the window and yell big truck for years. You haven't done that since you were just a wee pup.
Big truck, big fuck, big fuck. Big fuck.
Right on, everybody. Brought to you by Fatherhood and Bikes. Pedal bikes, strider bikes, trikes, all bikes. Well, cool, man. You've been side questing. You getting your side quest on?
Yeah, so I stole Mirage a little while back, Assassin's Creed. I got a long, cherished history with the Ass Creed. I started with 2, like I feel like most people did, kind of like Sonic 2. It was the first really good one. And then I went all the way up through, like, those are my favorite games in high school for sure. And then I went all the way up through like the American Revolution one. I want to say that one's 4. And then oddly enough, I was in college when Black Flag dropped, so like I never really played that. I wasn't gaming too hard, which I know is maybe when the remaster drops, it looks fire. Maybe that'll be the missing piece. But so it kind of dropped out and got into Origins and Odyssey, not in that order, but you get the deal. And then decent chunk of the England one. Any bees, the game has gone through some very strange iterations and changes and kind of became like a more of a Witcher clone than, you know what I mean? You ever play Odyssey?
Yeah, not extensively. Like I fired it up and played the first opening prologue or whatever.
Oh, word. I won't. I won't get too into it, but like the game kind of goes away from like its crowd stealth systems. It's like one hit kill, hidden blade stuff, and it gets more into like a kind of an arcadey open world RPG hack and slashy deal. And a lot of people get pretty offended by that. And the game takes different chances and to different levels of success. But anyway, Mirage was to be a return to form in a way where they wanted you to be a little bit more of a stealth sandbox, more of a 30-hour game, more dense and not as just ridiculously wide-ranging as some of the other games had gotten. The Valhalla is the name I couldn't think of.
Yes.
But it's like a direct spin-off of Valhalla. It's like a prequel. So a character, Basim, that you run into in Valhalla, it's his childhood in Baghdad and his coming of age. The voice acting is like oddly horrible, like cheesy. I thought that was odd.
I didn't know it was a spinoff. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like a prequel, kind of like a character spinoff for sure. And it's like the voice acting and the facial expressions just kind of geek me out for like a modern game. Their interpretation of Baghdad is fire. That's the main reason I wanted to play it, and the main reason I'll check out pretty much any of these games, especially as a socialized teacher. But as a dork first, just, get my historical murder sim on. But I got probably 10, 15 hours into it, and it was cool. Maybe less. It was cool. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just fucking good on stealth games forever. I have aged past, I have aged past my patience and desire to fucking fail in stealth games, especially if I have to like earn different abilities to like distract guards. Like if you don't give me a lot of those tools right away, I don't get to feel like smart and fresh. I'm like doing a lot of clumsy stuff that kind of counts as stealth, like stab guy, throw him in bush, like hide in bush for people to leave, like go out. And someone in this base has to know that your numbers have been very clumsily thinned out and you rang the bell twice and I ran away and came back 3 times. It's like, it's pretty messy. So I dropped it. But it felt pretty good to borrow a game because when I dropped it, I was like, I don't owe myself anything outside of what I've done. Like I had the amount of fun that I was going to have with the game.
The beauty of physical media, my man.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. Just sharing a game. It's kind of a bummer how we can't do that quite as much anymore. But, I'm glad you bought it so I could just kind of grip it and rip it and play for a little bit.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game. It's like the graphics are dope.
Yeah. No, it's so pretty. I love them. And then Slay the Spire 2 dropped, and that's been awesome. It's pretty much been everything I could have really hoped for. I wouldn't say and more because it hasn't like absolutely blown my mind. It's just like a really awesome version of this game I really spent a ton of time with, and it's worth playing a bunch. I will take a moment to explain that like the developers are making an insane amount of money, and bless them. Like the game is sold like gangbusters, and that's awesome. But it's now entered a weird area of like gamerness where it gets review bombed for things.
Oh, yeah.
Are you following any of this in the news?
I've seen a couple articles talking to it, yeah.
So the first time was like they have like a beta patch because it's in early access technically, and like Chinese gamers specifically like just didn't like changes being made in the beta and absolutely bombarded the game. That was the first wave. And then the second wave is a more recent one, and it's from Chuds.
Oh, no.
And I feel like I can make fun of Chuds because if you're a Gamergate Chud, I don't want you listening to the podcast. You can have political views of your choosing, but that specific branch of political view is just not welcome here because there's this woman who was somehow, I don't even know the greater Gamergate lore, but she was like a consultant on the game. So who knows what her role really was, but she was like found in the credits. So the Chuds have been review bombing the game after playing for like 20 minutes to an hour and then asking for refunds. So like, I don't know, man, touch some grass.
Because there's a woman that was part of it, or like there's something they have against this woman? Like,
yeah, I don't, I read a good article about it on Kotaku, properly roasting the guys. I would lean anyone there if you're curious, but like essentially she was one of the people that I don't know her role in the Gamergate or why the Chuds hated her, but like her being associated with this game as a consultant they found in the credits somewhere was enough for these dudes to be like, this game is woke, which is hilarious.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, no, for sure. But the game, like, I'm annoyed because when I want anyone that I tell about Slay the Spire to, I want you to go to the Steam page and see a glorious review for a glorious game. I don't want you to see mostly mixed or mostly positive. I want you to see overwhelmingly positive because I'm proud of my boy. But they'll make enough money, so I don't think they'll be like overly harmed. I just think it's like interesting that like this indie darling that kind of has had a huge impact on the space and like kind of a subgenre of its own really is now in these waters where you're susceptible to just ass hattery in a few different directions. So those are my side quest rants, I guess. I don't know what either of those meant, but a little slice of my last month or two.
I can dig it, brother.
Yeah.
It's been I mean we due to life, crazy stuff. You out here buying houses and stuff. So we pushed this one back a month. So all to say, good things move, that's great stuff. But it's allowed some side questing, especially with, I think it probably took me a week to play through Sonic. So I've had plenty of time to get to dabbling, which is always kind of fun.
We'll see if we do it for a spin-off pod, but I've been playing some Mass Effect and really enjoying that. That's
right on.
It came out in 2007 and I completely missed it until 3 and then randomly picked up 3 and was kind of confused and annoyed, but I've been very much enjoying 3 or 1. I'll keep my thoughts mostly to the side. I just bring it up because it's hard to catch a rhythm when I'm spending every other night watching some sort of sports ball and reading books and doing stuff, and I'm like, damn, I gotta get my Commander Shep back on, dude.
Yeah, you playing
Shep Daddy. I'm Shep Daddy, dude.
You Shep Daddy, I'm Fem Shep. I am. I started playing too because you've been poking me about it. It's cool. The dialogue, we'll probably end up talking more about this later on. So, but I think it's interesting. Like, I don't know. I think the combat leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's also early on. I might figure it out a little bit more.
That's true, but also 2007, they were taking chances.
Right. The dialogue's like quite good. It's like one of those things where it's like once you get into the mindset of, because is it Aspire? Is that one of the dev companies behind it?
Maybe I thought it was BioWare.
Oh yeah, you're right. BioWare for sure. Are they both on it? I don't remember for sure. But anyways, like I bring it up because like what is it? KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, same folks.
Knights of the Republic lineage to it.
Right. So it's definitely the dialogue is interesting. I find myself playing it and wish, like, it's such a funny thing because so many people hate Starfield, but I kind of like it. Like, I wish that the elements, like, I actually don't mind the combat in Starfield, and like obviously the graphics are nice. Like, I wish, like, I guess what I'm driving at is like it'd be cool to get like I have no problem playing Mass Effect 1. I'm already playing the Legendary Edition or whatever, but it would be interesting to see that game like redone, a proper like remake of it.
I think it's really funny because the Legendary Edition is what I'm playing on, and it's like they really upscaled the graphics, but the face animations are still pretty clunky. So it's kind of it's jarring.
Yeah.
It's kind of scratching my KOTOR itch without actually playing KOTOR, which is interesting. And I think it's really cool. We'll talk about it later. I think it's really cool how they build in lore. Like, it's been a while since I've played a game that's just been like completely fresh space shit.
Sure.
I like to, and so I usually don't care much for dialogue, but I've been loving talking to different people and asking them stupid fucking questions. So
yeah,
maybe I'm just tired in a game that just makes me fucking sit there and listen to them has actually been kind of nice. I don't know.
Maybe. So that's been a little side quest for me, especially in the last couple of weeks here. I did start messing around with my wheel a little bit more. I brought it down to the basements of my office, which has been nice. So I connected to my Xbox, and I've been driving cars in both Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon 5. I think 6 is about to drop. I'm not too worried about getting that one, to be honest, but I hope people enjoy it because of my fantasy critic league. I have it, so I want it to be scored well. But it's been fun, dude. I've got so Motorsport, like, I hadn't really played yet. I picked it up on like a nice little sale, but it's one of those games that it's kind of like a spiritual successor to Gran Turismo 3, in my opinion, if you remember that on the PS3. And so it definitely has a lot, like some will say that Gran Turismo 3 is better. It may be. There's certain things about that game that I do enjoy more than Motorsport, but it, like, speaking of itches being scratched, like this one definitely is like, it's a fun racer. And it definitely lends itself to the wheel, which is a great excuse to use that wheel. I actually I sniped a shifter that's been on my like wish list forever, and it dropped down like on a nice sale. I got that, and to be frank, I think it was kind of a mistake because the difficulty level of using a shifter from not using a shifter, it's a big jump. Your boy is not actually that good at driving.
That's pretty sweaty. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, like I drive an automatic car, so like it's just not like a normal thing for me to.
Do you think you could learn how to drive manual through using this stick though? Because that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, it's a little weird because you're like pedal to the metal most of the time trying to go like 112 miles per hour.
Yeah,
but like all the, you got a clutch.
Through the various game software, I wonder if you could.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a clutch and everything, and like, the gears all match up. So like in theory, yeah, you could learn that way. But that's been fun. That's been a side quest. I also got a Retroid Pocket Classic, I think, since our last time, which is a cool OLED screen, like Game Boy thing. It's like an emulation device built on Android for all my tech heads out there. But beautiful OLED screen. I have a couple other devices that kind of do the same thing, so it is admittedly a bit redundant in my fleet of toys. So I've been pretty
Armada at this point.
Yeah, so I've been pretty sweaty about like how I've been curating it. So like I've made it like I've been very personal. Instead of just loading it up with a ton of games, I've like spent a bunch of time putting very specific types of games on there and making it like the ultimate like pick up and play machine. Because that's one thing that when you have like all these games at your fingertips, like you can like, at least I get, and I think a lot of folks do, but like decision paralysis. And you like, when you have 700 games to choose from, and you're like, well, which one do I do?
Yeah.
So you just play Tetris and like, but like, so basically I've got emulation set up on there for a few different systems, but then within them got max of maybe 15 games on each, which is still a lot of games, but like it is whittling down the library quite a bit. And that's been cool. Like that's been a cool device to play with. And other than that, dude, I think those are the major side quests. Those are the side quests.
Hell yeah. Don't worry, Foundation got DLC announced for this summer. So if you want to hear about roughly 4 to 5 more lame Foundation updates from me, dude, I got you set, guys.
What are you trying to say? You weren't excited about my Retroid Pocket Classic?
Oh, I'm just trying to say, if anyone's been listening to this the last 4 months, they've been like, Jesus, dude, this guy just plays this medieval organic city builder. And the answer is yes. And the answer is, I'm also getting pigs and chicken in the summer. So get fucked, dude. It's going to be sweet
right.
Festivals, dude. Come on. Get out of here.
Well, you heard it, audience. Get fucked. Love you long time. Thanks for listening. Give us that review. We got like a handful of nice reviews on the old Spotify. We could use some more on Apple Podcasts, give me my serotonin that way. If you've been listening on Apple Podcasts, which I know some of you are because I have the analytics, hit us with a review. Give us some stars. Give us some love. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you listening. Join the Discord if that's your thing. We're there. I haven't been as active as I'd like to be in it. I think life has been kind of, been a lot last couple months. But yeah, if you're in there, I'm gonna chat you up. So get at us there. And that's the thing. Go to the website, low5gaming.com.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all. Get on your bike.
Ride it if you got it, man.
Go have a baby. Just play it.
Well, at least try.